Welcome back, dearest listeners, to the show that aims to reach those regardless of whether your court is seelie or unseelie. Today, we are proud to present a special informational episode. There is much knowledge on the seelie court of Fae, but rather little on the unseelie court.
The Fae folk, or people of the mountain as they are sometimes called, are what pop culture would refer to as fairies. This comes with many misconceptions about a bunch of colorful tiny people with wings and magical powers. This is true, but only a description of a select few of the vast array of Fae. It's not unlike trying to use the people of a single country to describe the entirety of the human race. There are several countries that have beings that are often linked to the Fae. For today, we will be focusing on the Fae of Ireland, but may cover a few others. First, we have the famous headless rider, the Dullahan.
The Dullahan is an unusual Fae as it is mostly human in appearance, with one exception. It's seemingly lacking a head, but only seemingly. Typically, its head is carried under its arm as it rides upon its spectral steed. The steed is weirdly connected to its rider, but it's unclear to what end. They act as though they know each other's thoughts and rarely show up without each other. The Dullahan has been depicted in simple clothing of the ancient Irish, but also more Victorian-style suits, as well as full suits of armor. The steed is always black, but sometimes will be pulling a carriage and sometimes just saddled with its ghastly rider. As grim as it may outwardly be, the actual danger of them is what they do. They ride along, the eyes of their severed heads searching wildly. When they spot someone, they will ride straight towards them and stop. When their knightly bride comes to a stop, someone will die. If that wasn't frightening enough, they will often brandish a whip made from a human spine. One can only imagine the agony of the vertebrae slashing at your body at high speeds.
The Dullahan is also the origin of the Headless Horseman of American folklore. The backstory varies a bit, but it's clear that Washington Irving had some inspiration when he was writing about the rider of Sleepy Hollow. Next up, we have another creature said to be able to kill you in an instant, the Banshee.
The Banshee is a widely feared creature of Ireland. Unfortunately, it is very likely that this is more due to unfortunate circumstances than any actual malevolence. The Banshee has the physical appearance of a woman, often described as being somewhat gaunt. She wears a simple white dress and a cloak over her spindly frame. There are different accounts as to some of the specifics, such as hair color, but generally these few things always hold true. She will be found near the waters of Ireland, sobbing. It is said that you should not approach her, as her cries are an omen of death. This is technically true, but it's a little more nuanced than that. In Ireland, there is a common funerary practice called keening. Keening is the mournful wailing of a woman in remembrance of the dead. The Banshee won't cry and kill you, but will keen to herald a death. This is why avoiding a Banshee doesn't really matter. Someone was going to die regardless. The keening of a Banshee is an omen of death, but not the cause. It is said that every major family of Ireland has their own personal Banshee that keens for their passing. They will not kill you, but rather mourn your passing. It is haunting, but almost affectionate.
Despite the terror of a death being foretold, there's something almost beautiful in knowing that no matter how alone you may feel, there is always something that would mourn your passing. It's not a surprise then that it's also a common belief that when a woman dies young, she may become the family Banshee. Now, from haunting ghosts that cry by the river to something that lurks within the river, we move on to the Kelpie.
The Kelpie is a Fae of many lakes, rivers, and streams of Scotland. The creature appears very much like a typical horse. If anything, it will be prone toward an almost unnatural beauty and grace. It will stand near the water and beckon you to mount it. This is the Kelpie's hunting tactic. The horror of the Kelpie is that you won't know what has happened to you until you're on its back. Once you are atop it, you will find yourself stuck to the creature's back and hurtling toward the waters. The Kelpie will then attempt to drown you, able to fully breathe in the murky depths. From there, your fate is basically sealed, save for cutting yourself out. While this may be an option, we tend to prefer prevention to actively fighting a magic horse. The only real tell is that its hooves are facing the wrong direction.
While the Kelpie may have that single tell physically, it is worth noting that no wild horse will ever just let you ride it. Now, while the Kelpie may attempt to lure you in, our next creature will just kill you outright, and literally bathe in your blood.
Redcaps are a form of goblin, but with a particularly violent twist. They lurk around battlefields, dipping their caps in the pools of blood that form. This is their source of life. Should their caps dry, they will almost immediately drop dead. Because of this, they are far more deadly outside of wars. At least during wars, there's a ready supply, but during times of peace, they have to make their own. On account of this, they will often act as highwaymen, pillaging and killing anyone who crosses their path. They tend to aim for more stealthy tactics, as a direct fight may very well end in their deaths. They do have claws and teeth, but will often use human weaponry instead. During the olden days, that would be daggers and maybe a saber for a more skilled Redcap, but today, well, who knows what they would do with more modern weaponry. Anything that can draw blood would be useful in their goal of survival.
With monsters such as the Redcap, you are left to wonder if there are beings truly made evil. A creature that requires death for its own survival seems like it could be just that. We here at the station choose to believe that there is always more than what is visibly apparent. While these were but a few of the many fae that exist within the world, it is important to remember that they generally stick to their land of Tir na Nog. Stay safe, everyone, and carry the iron spike that has been issued to everyone with your tax returns. You never know what might be waiting on the dark moors late at night. Sleep well, and happy St. Patrick's Day.